Alright. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We've got Weibo Gaming's hero in the bottom right side up against, of course, Shin from the Game and Gladiators. Shin is going to be going for the 15 Overlord. Oh, wow. This is awesome. Okay, this is this week's OlimoLeague finals, by the way, guys. I'm casting this just about, I think, 2 days after it's been played. So this is a fresh game, and you can see Shin. I've been talking about how Shin is always going to be the first player to update his builds, and look at that. He wants to make sure he doesn't get blocked. It's 15 hatchery before Overlord, and then he's going to go back up, another extractor trick to build another 2 drones there. Actually, just another 1 drone, I should say, and then he goes for the Overlord. Now, the whole point of this is he was expecting Hero to send an early probe across. Hero's been blocking bases all of the time, and it just hasn't quite, even on a big map like Abyssal, Shin was being very paranoid. I don't think he needed to do this if Hero went for a 14 pylon, but I think he was worried about Hero sending one of his first probes or a 13 pylon, where he builds the pylon a little bit earlier, and because of that, the probe heads across the map a bit earlier, slows down his 14th probe, chronos a bit earlier than normal to catch up. As we know, that build's pretty nice, but Hero playing a no scout build, and he's going to be profiting off of this. Look at that gas. So much gas mined already. 100 gas before your Cybercore's finished. This man is going to be rich. Now, a lot of players used to like to wall off over here. Hero, what is this wall off? I think he must be planning to build a building there, and he's going to have a double opening. I mean, maybe he just seals the wall off a bit later with the Stargate, but very odd opening for Hero, and no scouting for him so far. Meanwhile, Shin about to find out. Well, I mean, he's already seen no probes, so he knows his opponent's being greedy. This is the grand finals, by the way. It's a best of 5. And the OlimoLeague has been delivering amazing games recently. Now, who would I favor in this match? I don't know. Shin, I think, is not as good at the basics as Hero. Hero's like solid openings. I know it's weird to say that, but like his openings in PvZ, the first 4 or 5 minutes are incredibly well refined. His Oracle Adept pressure, second to none. So I think there are chances of Hero running away with games. I also think there's chances of Hero losing to a lot of those Shin Roach Hydra timings that we know and love so much. Neo Cortex and Riot Mango, thank you for the subs, guys. Really appreciate the support. Those watching live on the stream. It's the best games of StarCraft. We do this day, this time, every week. That's right. Saturday morning if you're in Australia, Friday afternoon or evening if you're in Europe or North America. We cover a lot of these best matches that end up on this channel. This channel's basically mostly populated with videos. I mean, occasionally I'll do one off stream or just randomly, but usually it's our weekly cup, the Pigstarcraft weekly, as well as the best game stream where we do a wrap up of the other tournaments from the rest of the week. Guys, Shin was not expecting a Stalker out here. He's like, what the hell? Who sends a Stalker on the map, man? You know I could have Ling Speed soon in the next 10 seconds to kill that. But of course, Hero, he doesn't know, but we know. He skipped Ling Speed. This is an Overlord Speed opening. So Shin, no Zergling Speed, just 3 Queens, 4 slow Zerglings, 3 hatcheries, and he's going to scout what's up. And he sees, oh, a Void Ray's about to come out, and starts running away. And Hero's like, wait, mate, who the hell goes Overlord Speed this early? It is Stalker's going to find it. Which means 2 Overlord kills. That's a great start because you've already invested in Overlord Speed, which is quite expensive. Don't get me wrong, it's the same cost as Ling Speed, so you could argue, well, it doesn't affect his economy. No, but it does affect his map control now. He can't deny a fast third from Hero. He can't pressure Hero, and he will be in a bit of a weird position. Now, Hero has gone for a wall-off back here. This is such a bad wall-off, because if he builds a building there, it full walls his base in. Which means later on, if he's trying to defend on this side and just wants to seal the left side of his base, he has to wall himself. It's staggering how lazy Hero is at looking at his wall-offs, guys. Sorry to rant. I know I talk about this every time I cast him, and I shouldn't be surprised by it anymore, but it's shocking how bad his walls are. Like, they're not just unplanned. It's almost like they're purposefully as inefficient as they possibly could be. The Void Ray does get 2 drones there. Third Nexus finally goes down at 4:30, only after Fleet Beacon and 3rd and 4th gas. I imagine that second Stargate should have already started unless you're rushing Mothership, which would be a patently ridiculous build. Hero, he has 400 minerals. He has 600 gas. He's going to make a Mothership. No, he's making Tempest one at a time. What the F is this, mate? And then he's just going to go Blink. Single Stargate Tempest Blink. What? He's just just gonna try and force an overreaction. Is this the build Raynor did, guys? Is this the build Raynor did versus... sorry, not Raynor. Clem. Clem did versus Serral in when they were both streaming on ladder? Has Hero done this before? I feel... Man, my memory's a bit scrappy right now, but I feel like he probably has. 60 drones versus 49 right now. We've got 3 more drones on the way. 4 more gases also. And the Ling going to be pulling back on that side. Sees the third. It's almost finished. Shin is going to need to go for Spire, usually, to counter the Tempests. Is this just one? Guys, he doesn't even build a single Tempest. He just builds a single Tempest, sorry, and that's it. He's like, I built 1 Oracle, I built 1 Void Ray, I built 1 Tempest, I built 2 Sentries, and now I'm just effing chilling. I'm going Charge, Robo, into a Ground Force. He's just going to run over here with a Tempest, start picking off drones, and this is forcing Spores, forcing Aspire, forcing more Queens. Because what kind of an insane person only goes for 1 Tempest? You're assuming this is 2 Stargate Tempest as Shin. You just don't know. So much for your creep spread. That's right, guys. Shin does play with the Diva voice pack. Don't forget, that does raise your testosterone, having a high-pitched girl screaming in your ear while you play StarCraft. Some people would say, isn't that inefficient? Isn't that a distraction? Not for Shin. For Shin, raised testosterone equals extra micro, extra APM, and extra winning. He's going to be going for the 6 gases now. But Shin, I mean, he sees the gases. He sees the sentries on the third. He doesn't see anything else. And one has to wonder. It's going to be dawning on him. He's like, well, what's the pressure? And yeah, now the mothership comes out to defend any potential attack timing. The question for me is, how early do we go Archons? Templar Archives is up. 4 gateways have finished warping. It's going to be at least 6 gateways soon. And do you just go Immortal Archon Zealot for a while? Ooh, Overseer will take a lot of damage there. Should get out. Speed Overseer. Oh, he stopped it moving. It was so close to breaking the leash range. Spire does get spotted as well. Infestation Pit about halfway done. An Observer watching the gases just now starting on that 4th base at 7 minutes. Hero's building Phoenix. He's worried about a Mutalisk swap. He's going to go also for Pulse Crystals. That is, of course, the +2 range to Phoenix. 2nd Stargate as well, in case he does need to go hard into Phoenix. And I think this is the wrong call. I think Phoenix are really bad versus Corruptors. I think you should expect Corruptors because you showed a Tempest. And I think going Phoenix here, especially without any air upgrades, makes very little sense. I think you're on 113 supply. The most important thing to do right now is to make Archons, Storm, Immortals 4th base. And Hero, he's scouting everything, and you can tell he's trying to, like, react or almost overreact. Shin, likewise, has Roach upgrades, Hydra upgrades, and Corruptors. Roach, Hydra, Corruptor, not a very good long-term comp. There's a Lurker Den on the way, but without a Hive started, one has to question, that's got to be the priority, surely going for the Hive. There we go, Hive does start up. Both sides scouting each other out. You can tell players are cautious because they're in uncharted territory. You normally don't go single Tempest into Mothership Archon Immortal. Shin, not used to playing against this either, is trying to, like, cover everything. It has a pretty high Corruptor count. 12 Corruptors is a pretty massive amount. Gets an Observer snipe. Zergling gets taken down there. There's another Zergling over there just hiding. 4th Nexus is not that fast for Hero. That means Shin's got a good economic advantage. The problem for Shin is you're getting forced to late game. And your late game is not good. I wouldn't say Hero's late game is good either, but I do think it's better than Shin's, and I think he's going to be favored at that stage. Whereas Shin is a master of the earlier stages. He's a very good mid-game timing player. Very tricksy opening player with his planned build orders, but Hero is going to have the advantage in this game. There's no Storm. Storm never got upgraded, guys. It's 2 High Templar, and I think he thinks he has Storm. He's going to try and make 2 more High Templar. I imagine those are Archon Templar. He's still got 2 High Templar in his army just kind of hanging out, which makes me think he thinks Storm has been upgraded. Hive almost finished. Shin's taken too long to attack. He's been put in a defensive mindset by the weird choices of Hero. And Hero didn't actually commit to an attack, so it's worked out really well for Hero as long as he doesn't attack now. If he attacks now, it's the worst possible time to attack because you forced a Mass Roach Hydra Corruptor army. This is the moment where Shin would love to have a chance to fight. I mean, maybe Hero can overwhelm with, like, good force fields, Archon Immortal micro, but mostly you're on a Mass Zealot army with a few Archons in the mix. I mean, Mothership's good. I don't think it's good enough, especially not with Lurkers out. It's good for Hero to gain space and kind of threaten, but he should not commit to the fight. That being said, he's going to go for it because he is Hero. He's a mad lad. Mothership pulls left. Void Ray Archon does chase back the Corruptors on the right side. Tries to push in, but the Lurkers are there. The Hydras fall back. More Lurkers kicking in. Where are the Overseers? There's only one Overseer there, but the Mothership does go down. Corruptors doing damage. The Lurkers smashing the Zealots. The Immortals and Archons need to get out. Hero loses his Prism. Archons take down a few Corruptors. He's going to lose the Tempest as well. The Corruptors go a little bit too deep for that, though. They don't quite get the Tempest, and nonetheless, a few Corruptors go down. Hero has a fourth. He's rebuilding the Mothership. To not make Storm here, it would be pure insanity. I know Hero doesn't have the gas, maybe +3 attack and Mothership other priority, but he realizes he needs Storm. He chronos the Templar Archives, he didn't have 200 gas, now he has 200 gas, and hopefully he realizes that Storm didn't start. Indeed, there we go, he does, and now Storm is on the way. Units lost tab is in favor of Heroes. That wasn't as bad of a fight as I thought it could be, but it was very necessary for Shin to keep the supply low of the Protoss player, and Hero still being on the front is crazy right now. Oh my gosh. Hero attacking with a much worse army, staying on the front, and of course Shin dives on it and grabs an Archon, grabs an Immortal, another Archon about to go down as well. The Overseer does go down, which means the Observer at least can siege up. Is it time to recall for Hero? Zealot counterattack comes in on the fourth, and the Natural at the same time. Another Archon and Immortal fall. Great catches here. Hero's just trying to at least lure him away from his base so he has time to rebuild. The Zealots going in. More Tempest building. Storm. Third Stargate. Hero can repopulate from this sort of situation. Ideally, the Zealots would have finished off a whole bunch of those damaged drones. Really good defense. The single Tempest still being microed. And it does finally. That first Tempest from this game gets recalled home. Units lost tab is now in favor of Shin. He's up 50 supply as well. He feels like this is his window. But it's Abyssal Reef. It's a map where it's hard to get in there. Of course, Hero has not walled off this side. As I said, his wall off is a bit awkward for that. And he actually does have his wall wide open. Oh my god, his fourth base is getting peed on. His Natural... Dude, what's he doing? He's counterattacking with Zealots. His army's too small. He did not get in front of that. His army got pulled out of position by the Corruptors. The Corruptors are managing to get the PP on the fourth base. Lovely move there. Mothership could have cloaked to save that, but he did not realize the High Templar just ran in and all died. The High Templar just ran into these Lurkers and Hydras. 5 High Templar came around that corner and just died, guys. Hero with his pants down right now, letting Shin just run up the ramp. He saw it coming a mile away, and he just did not move to respond. I think he started to, and then the Corruptors came north, and they just completely pulled him out of position. He's now got to pack a Stalker Immortal, not the army you want against this. Tempest popping out with Hydras on top of them, and Hero letting slip a very advantageous position against a Shin, who is not a good late game player. This is about as late as he can play into the game at a high level. But once again, he finds a Protoss player who does not hedge their bets against him, who takes big unnecessary risks as if they're playing Serral. And that for me is the biggest confounding part. If you're a Protoss player and you play against Shin the way you play against Serral, that just doesn't make sense. You've got to play the opponent, not the player. Serral, you need to attack. You can't let him get to a good macro late game position unless you're so confident. You know, you got to keep him contained. But Shin is always looking for an excuse to A-move Roach Hydra at you. That's his whole play. And he's good at it. He's really good at finding Roach Hydra timings. But Hero leaving this opening, throwing so much army away on the front, he bought himself enough time luring the army to the corner. It's kind of flabbergasting that he leaves himself so exposed in this scenario. Don't get me wrong, it's hard to defend this map. Once your opponent gets up here, you can't really defend the fourth at the same time, but he had to get back and defend the production. He wasn't able to do it. Shin's going to trade out pretty well. Surprisingly, Hero will survive, but I think the next wave, it's a foregone conclusion. 58 probes to 75. The Roaches, even while they're getting wailed on by Tempests and Motherships, can just run past. New expansion is up in the north, which means there are still 2.5 bases mining, and there could be a third if he gets more probes. He is probing right now, but of course Shin ain't going to stop. Corruptors, Roaches, Hydras coming forward. No Overseer on the front line. Shin has to back away, but at least he's forced that cloaking field out of Hero. Roaches on that top right side, hitting the Nexus. Roach, Hydra, Corruptor going to pull back. Single Void Ray getting mixed in. I think he's realizing he just needs really efficient answers to Corruptors. And if it's mostly Roach Corruptor, Void Rays can deal with all of that, technically. It's a gamble because they suck versus Spellcasters. They're not good long-term units, but right now, they work out okay. There's no Cybercore in this game, and Hero can't even afford to rebuild a Cybercore. I don't think he can afford to defend this Northern Army either. Lurkers, Roaches, Corruptors coming in. Storms could be big. First Storm lands on 4 Corruptors. Another Storm does tickle them down. Time Warp comes in. Great retreat hit for Hero. Really nice backwards micro. I just don't think he's got the numbers to Tempests are getting shot down. The Archons are morphing, but they're going to die to the Roach Hydra before they can finish morphing. And the Corruptor's coming south. Shin, with that classic decisive play we know for him. And I gotta say, hats off to him. Winning a game when your opponent tricks you with a single Tempest opening and gets to basically like 160 supply before any serious fighting happens, that's a nightmare as a Zerg. You never want to let a Protoss take a free fourth, get to 160 supply for free. And yet that's what Hero did. Despite that, Shin is beating him. And that's very impressive. Goes to show Shin will find a timing no matter how narrow it is. He will let you overcommit and spring across the map with the counterattack. Corruptors, nice wee-wee going on the right side. The Hydra's doing a little bit of a run around while the Lurkers from the low ground try to keep hitting them. Oh no, don't go back in there. Oh my god. Corruptors take down the Nexus, and Hero is finally going to tap out there. We've got to watch that sequence one more time when Hero lost his natural, because that was, positionally, I felt like a very... Like, I think luring this army to the corner was a brilliant play. And I have to look at Hero's camera on 2x speed in the follow-up. I mean, he's not building Immortals right now, which is just insane. I know he's only got one Robo, but it's like, you're up against Roach Hydra, Lurker, Corruptor. Like, that's got to be the core of your army. So maybe he tried to queue one up and didn't have enough gas. He makes a few High Templar, which he hadn't made till now, which is crazy. He does energy recharge them. And he sends Zealots around the top side, which I guess they're a bit slow to go around the top side, so they're not going to be quick enough to really distract. But he sees the army on the left. He hasn't looked at it, but he sees it. And he's just staring at the Corruptors. Okay. He leaves his army in a little central position. He's a bit slow to move up there. Yeah, I mean, this was just very slow reactions for Hero. Very chaotic. And you can see these High Templar I was talking about. I said 5. It was 3, apparently, guys. He landed a good storm on the ramp, but... at what cost? He loses the High Templar. The Immortal probably goes down as well. No, the Immortal did pull back. And once he's up your ramp, I mean, that's a bit of a travesty. You know what would have made defending this a little bit easier, guys? So there's this crazy idea called walling this side of your base off, which almost everyone does. And whenever you see an army coming, there's a very standard response most players do, which is warping in a sentry here. Because you can force field this ramp, like, very easily, or at least force field that side as well. Because you're worried about the fourth base more, because that's usually the easier attack angle for the opponent, your army does tend to focus on defending the third and fourth more. But if your opponent's crazy enough to push up this ramp, you do have to have something there to defend, and Hero just didn't have anything. So gets caught out. Shin takes game 1, despite playing against a very confusing single Tempest sort of distraction opening. Alright, going into Neon Violet Square. Hero in the top side of the map. He had opportunities in that game, but overcommitted to the aggression, a little late to Psystorm, and definitely late to build the Immortal count up. Shin in the bottom side down here. And I think one of the best pieces of advice I can give to struggling Protoss players out there is stop copying pro players. Because the number of players I see who complain that facing like Zerg is too hard, and they try to do what Hero did there, and off like one Immortal go to Tempests or Carriers or Mothership. Just build more Immortals and always have double Robo versus Zerg, and you're not going to suffer losses like that last one Hero had, right? There's 4 Immortals out and a few more High Templars and Archons. You know, you'll be able to defend those decks. I'm not saying that's better for Hero and he should go double Robo. Single Robo is legitimately the better way to play if you're a pro gamer. But it's just one of those interesting things where Hero's reticence to rebuild Immortal High Templar, just the core of his army, even after losing his entire army on the map, and just focusing on Tempest and Mothership. Hero has a habit, whenever he's going Sky Toss, of overemphasizing the importance of the Sky Toss over his ground army, and that can cost him. And oh, he knows it's a gold base because he saw no expansion, and he's going for a reactive cannon rush. He's gone for a forge, but this Overlord might see it, and that's going to be a bit of a tell. That being said, Shin, is he really going to pull drones down here? I don't think he will. Shin's going to see it now. Let's go to Shin's camera. He sees the probe. Has he looked at it? He should realize, oh, he's bringing drones, He sees it on the minimap. He brings 4 drones to defend. Okay, Hero has some really bad cannon rush wall-offs. This is the one time, Hero, you need to wall off an actual position with this. That is not walled off at all. You saw 4 drones coming. Hero, you need to wall this off, bro. Bro, he's not going to try to wall anything off. I mean, I guess you can do it this way because drone DPS is so bad, but he's got to make sure he doesn't get surrounded either. Oh, God, Hero, do not lose this probe. This probe is everything. That's so many drones right now. There's a Zealot on the way. He's not going to be able to get it up. As I said, Hero's cannon placement is very low level. He is one of the lowest level cannon rushers out of probably the entire Grandmaster League in the world. And that's not going to get up, man. Oh no. Drones there as well. All right, 3 guys on gas over there. The gold base is up. It's a terrible opening for Hero, guys. He built a pylon in the forge. He's done no damage. Queen and 4 Zerglings are out. I'm trying to weigh this up, and I'm like, wow, it's almost like you should have built the pylon up here or down. I don't know. Like, I don't know if there is a spot to wall off, like, just looking at it, but I'm sure you could figure something out, and you do need to do more than this. I mean, this looks like it's... Hero has a habit of winning from bad openings like this. So I shouldn't call it now, but I would say for most players, this would just be a 2-0 lead already to Shin due to Hero's laziness on his openings, and that's something you've really got to watch out for, man. You can't have this sort of sloppiness in your play at this level. The Adept, he's not watching. He's not watching. He's not watching at all. He was too busy watching on the front right there, guys. Yes, he's killed a few Zerglings, but he's just let 5 lings into his main base. I don't think he has any idea that's happening. Hero, he's so busy microing his Adept on the front. He loses a probe there, but only 1 so far. That's not the end of the world, but no Stargate, remember, because he went for that forge. No Stargate. He's also off his second gas mining. These Zerglings doing massive damage. There are Adepts shading around right now. It looks like that one shaded back. This one runs all the way home, and Hero, he's looking way too sloppy at the start of this series. Shin ain't gonna let him get away with this. Shin's got a gold base mining. If Shin can get a 3rd base up now as well, which he does, that's going to be massive. He's killed a pylon. He's killed 3 probes. He's only lost 10 Zerglings, and with the gold base mining, he's at literally double the mineral mining right now. Now, obviously, that's because workers were pulled away from mining. You can see the minerals going back up for Hero. His Stargate just starting at 3 minutes 50. General rule is if your Stargate's a few minutes late, it's not particularly useful. I would say that rule changes in this patch because of the energy recharge. You can still use 1 Oracle for defense or a Void Ray for cleaning up Overlords. But this may be the sort of game where Hero is forced to take the back third, since I don't really see him being able to hang on to the front one. Mass Ling coming forward. It's a crazy move for Shin. Does he realize the wall off is bad? No. I think he saw when that gateway was missing, so he goes for it, but that is not going to work out. These Adepts can just shade in, recall inside the base, and this should be a solid defense for Hero. Hero needs to keep probing, though, because remember, Shin has the gold base. He doesn't. Shin building 6 Overlords right now. Shin's macro a little sloppy. Shin. Wow, he's actually panicking a little bit himself. Like, yeah, you've got 2 bases, but what's the follow-up here? He's made so many Zerglings, and he didn't get us around. Those Adepts still hanging out. Now, I think those Adepts should absolutely stay at home. There's no reason to move out. When you know there's 20-plus Zerglings on the map, you don't want to move out with just 4 Adepts. 6 Adepts in a ball, though, that is actually an option, especially with a sentry there to defend at home. Big supply block for Hero. Extra pylon comes in as he goes for the 3rd gas. He's thinking about that 3rd nexus now. Taking the 3rd base in the back makes sense, even though it's only 4 minerals. But Shin with great scouting sees the Adepts, and those Adepts, if they commit to this shade, it's a one-way trip. He's got to cancel. Oh, no, he goes for it. He's going to take out a few of these guys. He should get back to the forest. The Skibbity Forest is the safest area for him right now with these links nearby. He doesn't make it to the Skibbity Forest in time, but looks like his shade will be able to get him out of the worst possible scenario. He's trying to go to the mineral line. Old habits die hard. Normally, mineral lines are safe areas. On this map, there's no space behind that mineral line. He is forced to recall. But look at that. The Queen's pulled the units out of position. And because the Queens were out of position, the Oracle comes in and gets 5 kills. Make it 6. Make it 7. Hero has one of the worst opening cannon rushes I have seen in years. Despite that, it messes the game up. It makes it a bit weird. Shin has a low level of practice in this scenario. And because of that, he messes up his follow-up. He way overbuilds Zerglings, doesn't do damage. He lets those Oracles in, kills 7 drones. And Hero is back in a perfectly fine playable position. I told you guys, Hero always wins from behind. He navigates the chaos very well. So as much as it's bad that he puts himself behind in these situations, he finds ways to win from them, and you have to give him credit, because that is a skill so few players have in the world. That is Hero's special sauce. It is what makes him the most successful Protoss player of the recent years. I don't think there's space for a cannon back here. Twitch chat's discussing cannon positions. I don't think you can squeeze a cannon behind the gas. It's a bit of an awkward base to cannon rush, but I think over here, 1, 2, 3, maybe? I don't know, actually. It's really hard to figure out where he should have cannon rushed. Because I'm not a great cannon rusher either. Normally you need to go in and actually fiddle around to see where the edges are, because just looking at it, you can't really tell until you're actually trying to place a pylon or a cannon and you see exactly how much space is everywhere, which is why you're going to cannon rush, you really should at the start of every season, and I know Hearthstone used to do this every season, was just go into the maps and practice those positionings to make sure you understand them. Fleet Beacon coming in. Looks like it will be early Mothership. Hard to kill a player who's got a Mothership. So that's a nice way to play. But Shin has held the drone key down. I'd say Shin's still ahead in this game, despite that damage, making it a bit more even. And the 4 oracles against just 6 queens. 2 more queens starting up because, oh god, oh god, oh god. Queen and Spore Crawler in the main base, though. You still can't, even with 4 oracles, fight into a Spore Crawler. Could go kill that 4th hatchery if he wants to. And queens come forward. Nice move. Focuses the weak oracle. Really good move there. Same time, Overseer scouts the main base. Does he see the fleet beacon? The answer is no. Hiding the fleet beacon in the back of that base. Robo does go down as well now. So looks like air weapons, Robo, Twilight's up. I imagine it's going to be charge again. And carriers. Wow, he's actually going 2-star carrier, guys. I think Shin saw both Stargates, though. Yeah, Shin did see both Stargates. So that's going to be an issue. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. 67 drones into Mass Hydra. Okay, I don't like this play for Shin. He can definitely deny a 4th. Yeah, you know what? It might be good. He's got the gold base income. That's going to start running out, right? Already some of those mineral patches have disappeared. If you can actually hit a Hydra timing and deny the 4th, that should be pretty decent. I just feel like it always goes to end game on this map. It always goes to super late game unless the Protoss makes a huge screw up. It's a very good map for turtling. Overseer sees those carriers. He's just built Hydras, but then he went straight back into drones. So it looks like it's, I would call this a pressure timing. He wants to deny the 4th, run forward. He has to be confident. If Shin lets that 4th get established, he's going to struggle. Oracles. Oh my god, Zergling Feast. Shin, get out of there. Shin a little slow to react. The Oracle's doing pretty good damage on these Zerglings, man. That's pretty nice damage. Zerglings escape through the forest. And the Corruptors, 6 Corruptors plus 1 air weapons coming in. Still no Evo Chamber upgrades in this game. It's just going to be Hydraling breaking these rocks, but Shin's scouting is a little off. He doesn't realize there's a 4th base coming up on the left. 2 carriers are out. Still no Psy Storm. And I've got to say, Hero's army is one of the weirdest armies I've seen in a long time, guys. Like, what is this? It's Oracles, 1 Immortal, a bunch of Adepts and Stalkers with no upgrades. Like, I guess Blink's coming in, a few Sentries. I mean, for me, it's like Storm and Colossus, and Storm and/or Colossus. Probably Storm, since you're going 2 Stargate. You don't want to go Colossus, because then Corruptors counter both. I mean, he's going Robo Bay, though. No Storm seems crazy here. Technically, Blink could defend, but he doesn't have enough Blink Stalkers. It's mostly these short-range units that are going to get shredded by the Hydras. I would love someone to explain to me what Hero's plan is here, other than rely on the awesome defense capabilities of this map. I really feel sometimes like when I'm watching Hero, he doesn't know what he's doing. I definitely don't. Lings do get frozen by the stasis traps. Good force fields. Carriers, easy pickings for those Corruptors. Corruptors are going to dive. Great move. The Oracle's starting to fall. 2 Oracles go down. Force fields are fantastic here for Hero, but the Corruptors will take out the carriers. Corruptors should keep committing. They should kill the Oracles as well, or maybe go P in the main base to try and distract. This is quite a bit of Hydra Ling. 20 Hydras on the map. He's going to wait for a few more Lings. How to defend without Colossus. There's a Colossus on the way, but that'll go down. The Corruptors are actually peeing on the Robo, which means the Colossus will never get out here. Colossus is not the play. Colossus plus double Stargate makes no sense. We've pointed out why before. As you can see, Corruptors not only counter the Stargate units, they also counter the Colossus. That Colossus will go down. Will it even get a hit off? The answer is, yeah, it's going to get 1 hit off, and then it does die. Hero's army was utter nonsense in this game, and yet again, we see Hero. He's an intuitive player. He makes it up as he goes. As a result, he does things people have never figured out before. He wins games in ways you would never expect, and his opponents find it impossible to predict what he's going to do, which is why he's a nightmare to prepare for, because you never know what you're going to get until the game in the series starts. On the flip side of that, you never know if he's going to play something that has any merit to it. And in this game, and the last, he has made some huge strategic blunders. To play 2 Stargate carrier here, only make 2 carriers and then swap into just Stalker Sentry Colossus, it's not a good army. You're on 4 base, you had time to go for Storm here. If you went for a very standard Storm style, you'd be in a much better stance. And I think Stalker Storm is just a more solid basis of an army. You can use that just like on any other map to get to late game, and it's gonna give you a bit more profit. Not to mention, I do think Tempests are just better than carriers in general. You know, I think he's shown amazing Tempest play in the past. They can pick away at Hydras and kill unlimited Hydras from afar, and they can also kite backwards against the enemy Corruptors and stay behind your Stalkers, your Storms, your Batteries, your Cannons, and all those sorts of things. So, not a big fan of the carrier opening. But the thing I'm mostly critical of is the lack of splash damage investment afterwards. And he clearly thought the attack was coming sooner than it was. He was kind of panicked, going, oh, make stalkers, make sentries, make zealots, make anything I can. And we've all been in that scenario where in hindsight, obviously you don't have the vision we do in Hero's shoes. You go, oh man, I could have just been way greedier and just teched right up there, couldn't I? Hydra's coming forward. High Templar, Colossus, Sentry, Stalker out front here. Storm's on the way, but it ain't ready just yet. Corruptors in the back. Mutas are as well. Mutas are going to wreck this. I'd love to see the Corruptors unload as they have been drinking Mountain Dew all day and their bladders are full, ready to maybe burn down some of these tech structures. Mutas, of course, just want to go for the probes because their damage isn't as high, but their mobility is amazing. And look how many probes are going down. Just such nice value here for Shin. Corruptors have been forgotten by the looks of it. I'd love to see those get used. No Overseer with the army either, which means this Observer does have good vision. Muta's still dancing around the front. I thought they were on their way out, but they go straight back in using the Protoss architecture of their base against them. Could take out that Stalker on the way past, but just one Mutalisk goes down. Even more Mutas coming right now. It is mass Mutas with +2. Hydra's on the front. You do not want to be here with your Hydras, Shin. Oh god, he's not watching. Loses a few of them before he reacts. Phoenix almost goes down. Mutas and Corruptors have to pull back, though, temporarily. Shin is up to, I think that's a lot of gas, guys, as he's got. Yeah, he's got so much gas. Look at his income, guys. He can make 16 Mutalisks a minute. That is an insane amount of Mutalisks. Meanwhile, Hero's income completely dead in the water. Not to mention no anti-air on the front. The Colossus, High Templar pushed out to chase the Hydras, and that means the Mutas and Corruptors are going to have a party. Colossus, Archons, High Templar, and the single Phoenix all out in the open. Wow. Doesn't have that much damage there. Takes out a Colossus, takes out another Colossus. Can he get the third? The answer is yes. And the Hydras say, well, if you guys take out that, we can maybe fight again. Mutas are a bit too damaged. He doesn't need to fight right now. It's kind of inefficient for Shin, but he doesn't care about inefficiency. He's got more than double the income of Hero. And Hero, it feels like Hero is an alien to these big maps. These big old maps from 5, 6, 7 years ago. King's Cove, Neon Violet, Abyssal Reef. It feels like Hero gets interpretive, and I feel like I'm watching a drunk child try to make up an interpretive dance and doing some sort of weird heebie-jeebie arm waving rather than just kicking his opponent in the head and knocking him out. A bit too fancy for Hero. 2 games in a row. He's got to get back to basics. Otherwise, he's going to go down 3-0 in this series. All right, guys, Hero in the top right side of the map. Looks like going for a pretty standard 14 pylon opening. Now, interestingly, he's left an opening on this side of the wall off, which makes me think he wants to take this third. And that third is usually not considered as good as this third, but you know what? There's an argument behind this third up here being a bit of a pain because there's no... Actually, no, it's so easy to defend because there's no ramp there. You just have this little choke point there. I don't know, it's a bit weird. Normally you want the opening on the inside closer to your third base, but we'll see how it goes. Shin's in the bottom left side. And this is going to be, a hard road back for Hero. But this is also the most Hero thing ever, is to go down 0-2 and then just win 3 games in a row. How many times has he done that versus Dark? I do think Shin's harder to do that against than Dark. Shin will probably not supply block himself. But yeah, I mean, Shin gave some opportunities in that game, right? Like overbuilding Zerglings, building 6-7 Overlords at once when he only needed 1 or 2. There's a few macro mistakes Shin made that were uncharacteristic in Neon Violet Square, or on Neon Violet Square. And Nexus is going to go now. Minute 25, minute 26, probe harass is good. But I think Shin's pretty happy to be able to just keep taking his natural on these maps as well. Chat said Shin supply booked himself 20 seconds into the game. I think that one might be on purpose. That might be part of the build. Like, what an idiot. He didn't build an Overlord on 12. It is always funny because, like, depending on how you learn strategy games, because I watch people of all different levels, whether it be Assault Mines cast, coaching, this or that, and I'll see legitimately, like, Diamond 2 players who just will go, like, 12 Overlord into 12 Hatchery. Like, builds that just make no sense at all. But they just have a bit of killer instinct. And I'm like, it just reminds me that, like, skills can be so massively varied in StarCraft, where you can have someone whose opening build order is so fundamentally bad and just crap, and all they would need to do is literally watch any other player of their level or above play, copy their opening, and they'd have an extra 3 drones, 4 drones every game. But they still win and maintain Diamond 2, just because they're like, oh no, they know how to do like some Ling run bys, or they have a good trick with like a drop in the back while they attack at the front. And it just reminds you, there's so many skills in StarCraft, and Hero is one of those few players who shows this even at the pro level. You know, huge deficiencies in some areas, but so far beyond the abilities of other Pro Tours players when it comes through in his clutch ability to win games, confidently pick chaotic engagements, and take down his opponents no matter what else is going on. Depth Shade should be cancelled there, as the Lings are tracking it nicely. Oracle does get chrono boosted as well. For real though, is going 14 drones a thing? That wasn't a mistake. I just don't know. Yeah. So you guys probably haven't kept up with it. 15 Overlord is actually the best opening right now. So you go 15 supply. So you do an extractor trick before building an Overlord. So you go 15 drones, then you build an Overlord, then you build one more drone, then you go for your 16 hatchery. Which sounds weird, but you get your drones out so much faster. Whereas if you stop on 13 supply to build an Overlord, it delays the next drones quite a long time. Whereas if you just rush to 15 drones, your main base is mostly saturated, you're getting so much mineral mining so early. And even though that Overlord's delayed a little, it's just a bit better. Now, obviously, part of the reason Shin often stops on 14 supply is he's wanting to make sure he can get his hatchery down, even if there's a probe that came across at the very start of the game. Already, 2 drones going down. Hero's Harassment looking a little bit better this time. And that Cocoon, can it regen fast enough to deal with the Adept attacks? It has like 1 billion armor, and unfortunately, I think Hero changed targets onto the other egg there. So yes, the drone does survive. Lings come out, but the Adepts shade backwards, take out a Zergling, and very good micro. So yeah, often what players will do is stop on 14 or 15 supply, and they won't even build the Overlord because they want to be able to go for the hatchery. That's something Shin likes to do. Cyril almost always goes for the Overlord first, but there are rare cases where he doesn't as well. If he really thinks his opponent's going to send a worker across at the very start on a map where he does not want to have his natural blocked. So you can go 14 supply hatchery, then build a drone, then go for it like a 14 Overlord or a 15 Overlord after an extractor trick. Oh, Oracle's going to be dancing around this base. Oh, that Oracle's low. Get it out, get it out. 13 hit points. Sorry, guys. There was a whole discussion of people in chat. I'll try to give more info on the openings in the next game, okay? I'll focus on Shin's opening at the start of the next game, because Hero's openings, it's easy to see a minute in what he's done, but the Zerg one, I'll show you the details of what he's doing, because I think a lot of people are still interested in figuring out those Zerg openings. Stasis Trap comes in from there. This guy's going to regen a bit before trying to Stasis Trap that base, but with 3 queens, it's very dangerous. Lings come forward. One of them dies. The Adepts and Stalkers are there. This does give Hero the forward aggression as well. So the other reason why Hero does leave the choke point on this side, take this third, is he wants to deny this 4th base. Forces Shin to take that base and just gives you a good attack path directly into this third, which is massive. The question is, how many gateways do we commit to? Right now, it's 2 gateways going to 4, now going to 6. Pretty standard, right? Blink +1, 6 gate. But the gap in probe production is not standard, and that means Hero is massively committed to this attack. He's going to go hardcore. Oracle refills on energy right there. Stalker's already on the front line. Blink and +1 are only halfway done, but he's got 3 Oracles with lots of energy here, and that is going to be a good fight for Hero. Yes, the Lings come forward. Does turn on both Oracles at once, which may be a little unnecessary. The Stasis Trap goes down. The southern one, not that effective. Oh, Hero with his lazy F2. He's got to stop using that F2 in these scenarios. Red hit point Oracle just barely survives. Another revelation on these creep tumors would be nice. Got to get rid of that creep, but there's still one tumor in the north that did survive, which is really good for Shin. Stalkers and Adepts are there. Blink not quite ready. Neither is +1. Roach's Roach speed, +1 range, and Hydra upgrades coming in. How many workers died this game? Just 5 workers, guys. But he killed a few Zergans in the early game as well. And Hero, 61 probes, leaning into the aggression as heavily as he can. The Adept Shade passed into the natural. All 4 of them. If they focus fire, they could kill a lot of drones, but they're not focus firing, which means the popping Roaches are dealing with it. We can see on that worker kill count how well Hero micros it, and the answer is not very well. They're not doing much damage at all, but the 2 Adepts will survive. One of them into the main, could kill some more. The Stalkers are smashing the front line, though. They've been killing most of the Roaches. The Queen count is almost gone. There's only 1 transfuse left. The stasis on those Zerglings doing a lot to gain momentum. That Adept, she manages to kill 7, 8 kills on that Adept. 4 more drones going down in the back of the base. That's a big snipe there. And probes and gases are being added behind it. Hero is not all in. Hero is so perfectly able to navigate this line of continuing to attack and trade well here. Already at 5-to-1 units lost ratio. So he can keep on navigating that while adding gases, and potentially taking a fourth base behind it. So Hero, he started the transition, but he's still in the face of Shin, and this is still a potentially lethal attack timing. Really nice to see Hero just do something decisive and kick some butt. Stalkers need to be blinking back. Need to be blinking back. There we go. Good blink backs. Very nicely done. Stalkers trying to micro their hearts out. Lings into the natural. Of course they are. Oh, God, Hero. Why do you have to leave that open? Hero, that fundamental mistake of him just not control grouping units properly and relying on the select all army key always leaves his door open, and as a result he always takes damage to these counterattacks. But his micro on the front should be good enough. I think he's broken Shin. Either way, the Stalkers blink forward, the Hydras go down, and Hero does it in the decisive fashion that we know and love. Takes control of that game and pushes in. Now, why was this so hard to defend? Why was Shin not ready is the question that I have. And if we look at it, I think there's a few things. One of the ones is that Shin was building 7 Overlords right now. The other thing is that Shin did not open with melee. He opened range, and it's a late range, so it's not going to be part of this fight or part of this equation at all. Evo Chamber is a wasted investment in this scenario, number 1. Hydra Den also, I believe, is a wasted investment. I know Hydras will eventually scale better than Roach Zergling, but I think when you're in the face of these pressures, what you really need is Ravagers and Zerglings. And the reason is Biles will just force Hero to micro and dodge a bit more. And Zerglings, of course, are the best at dealing with Stalkers. Problem, Zerglings very weak to Oracles. They're weak to the Adepts a little bit as well. So that's going to be nasty. But building 7 Overlords here is a few too many. 4th base going down is technically not necessary. Usually, though, stopping at 68, 66 workers is fine, right? Against a 60 probe timing, which is what this is. But is it really? No, because he only goes to 61 probes after he gets on the front. Notice he cut probes at like 51 or 55, I think, to get the gateways down and to warp in the Stalkers nonstop. You could see there's moments in this build where here he's not building probes. He's making sure he makes the gateways, he makes the Stalkers, and then he queues up a few probes. So there are multiple gaps in probe production here for Hero that allow him to hit this timing as hard as he does. And one could argue that Shin, just not being aware of that, didn't quite have enough. Against this sort of attack, you want to have 50 Zerglings. If you have +1 melee kicking in as well, really helps you shut down the first waves. And the goal is to keep this creep out. But because he didn't have enough to fight at all, look at how easy it is for Hero to clear the creep and push him back. Don't get me wrong, Hero executed this really well. Very decisive, great revelations, but the creep control's gone. And by the time he starts to get some Roaches and Hydras out, he doesn't have time to make Ravagers. He doesn't have enough units to fully overwhelm. The stasis traps are hitting him. And that's just beautiful play. Really nicely played by Hero. Really well done. All right, guys. Shin in the bottom right side of El Dorado. And, of course, Hero in the bottom left. So we can see here, guys, straight to 14 supply. Now, I don't think Shin does the extractor trick very often. I think he likes to try to go 14 hatchery to make sure he doesn't get blocked. He's going to go, 14 Overlord and 14 hatchery. This is still, I believe, quite efficient. But this is Shin's version of it, whereas the difference would be normally you'd extract a trick to 15 before building the Overlord if you want the generically greedy version. The question is, with this build, he hasn't sent his drone down in time. He forgot to send his drone down. Shin, what do we... Oh, he's just doing a worse version of the build without the extractor trick? Does he get the hatchery down in time? No, he's going to have to take the 3rd. There's no way he gets that down. That's a bummer. Shin blocked there by Hero. And the difference here is he did not scout to check if the probe was coming in. He should have sent the drone down earlier, I would argue. And tries to bring another drone down. And it gets blocked! Oh, he thought Hero's probe was chasing him. Hero with the double block. Shin has to take the 3rd, and it's Omega delayed. Great start here for Hero. And I definitely think... Yeah, this actually is just a worse opening for Shin. If Shin went Extractor Trick, 15 Overlord, 15 Hatchery, it's a way better opening in this matchup. But I think what happened is Shin thinks this is the best version of the 16 Hatchery to do. 14 Overlord, 16 Hatch. And he figured Hero was not going to block. So he was just gambling on Hero not trying to block his base this time. And he got punished. So his opening's a bit worse. Finds himself a little behind. Hero just does things as always. Nexus into core on 20 supply. 3 workers on gas, 15 on minerals. Good to see Hero get a slight advantage here. It's El Dorado. It's a map where we do sometimes see Protoss take the 3rd here and then take the 4th gold base next to it just for the minerals. I wonder if we'll see Hero do that. You can then push down this southern side of the map very easily. Mental PvP says, I've been playing with a double extractor trick. I go hatchery, then extractor trick right after the first trick. Get second hatch down at 38 seconds. Oh, so you're going 16 hatchery, 15 overlord, are you? Mental PvP? You're saying you're doing hatchery before overlord? That's fine. I think that's perfectly fine to do. I think it's a little awkward doing the double extractor trick. It's quite expensive. But it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that, in effect, ends up pretty similar to just doing a 15-15 build. $15 hatch? It's the Gerald build? Wait, why would you need to do a double extractor trick with a 15 hatchery? You literally start on 14 supplies. You only need to do a single extractor trick to get to 15. So that doesn't make any sense. Adept comes in, gets itself a drone. Nice hero, finding more value right now. Oh, the Adept comes out just in time. Oh, Shin, just a second too late. Maybe a little distracted by the drone going down. He's going to lose a few Zerglings now as well. I mean, it's funny because Geralt is a, Geralt, as I like to call him, is a Protoss player, so I can't imagine his Zerg build's very good. Because the first Overlord isn't built until after the hatchery, says Mental. But if you're going 15 hatchery, you don't need to... What? This doesn't make any sense. Mental, your build makes no sense. You're writing it down wrong. Unless you're saying you go for a single extractor trick, do a 15 hatch, then you do a double extractor trick, and then you do 16 Overlord. In which case, I guess that makes sense. I don't think it's sufficient. Yeah, I think a 15-15 is just a much better opening than that. Oracle's running forward. We've got a Stargate there as well. Twilight second gate. I mean, out of curiosity, I'd love to see a replay of it, Mental. If you want to post it in chat, we can look at it after this game really quickly, and I can make fun of it. I'm sure it's decent. The fact that you're paying attention to your basics means I'm sure it's decent, but does sound a little unnecessarily complicated. Historically, anyone doing extractor tricks for most of StarCraft's history has been making the game unnecessarily complicated and losing more money than they gain. And even pros will say if you mess it up a little, sometimes, you know, if you don't do the timing correctly, it can cost you more than it gains you, but it depends. Ooh, nice Oracle micro. Dude, Hero's getting value. He's so ready for everything. Run, Shin. Get out of there, bro. This is a really bad start. Shin, come on, you got to finish this series off, man. We can't be letting Hero get back in this. I know Hero is famous for making comebacks. To be fair, one could argue it's not like Hero was getting dumpstered by Shin. He was kind of dumpstering himself in Game 1 and Game 2, right? So it's not like Shin has looked dominant so much as Hero has looked frail in the first few games. If Hero now starts playing that top-tier Hero play that we're used to, that's the sort of Hero that can beat Serral. You know, that's the sort of Hero who is just monster moding the best players in the world when he's on point. That's the big question. Will he be on point? Where do you take your fourth? Top right? Yeah, top right. Okay, so it's a top right fourth base. Now, we haven't seen a lot of melee focus play for Shin lately. And with this Evo chamber timing, around the time the fourth base and lair is finishing, or fourth base starting, lair finishing, that is going to be range. He is going to be playing Roach Hydra once again. And there are Stalkers coming forward. Link Stalker Oracle Pressure was very painful to deal with last time. 60 probes again. Oh, Hero's disrespecting him. Guys, Hero's disrespecting him. Hero doesn't think Shin can defend a basic Oracle Blink Pressure after what happened in the last game. He's just like, yeah, I can just get in your face, dude. I don't give a crap. I'm not even going to need to probe here. 60 probes, no gases on the third. Let's do it. Oh! Shin punishes him, takes out the first Oracle. That was a ridiculous stasis trap there, and he does get massively punished. But Shin, his army count's way too low right now. He needs to pull way back. Let this army deep on creep. You do not want to be fighting out here. Shin should not be engaging into this. He should let that army much deeper before he fights. Otherwise, he's just going to bleed out a lot of units. Hero right now getting value. You've got to not be fighting until you're ready. These roaches do not quite have roach speed or +1. There's a window here for Hero to find that value. 4 more gateways are building. It's a 4-gate blink pressure, not a 6-gate this time. But he does have charge coming in behind it, and he's going to go for a 4th base in the top left. Hero floating a massive amount of money. This build is not refined at all. Feels like once again Hero's making it up as he goes. He's built a Nexus. He's still floating 500 minerals after that. Because this should only make sense, this build, if you've got a 6th gateway. But he was doing it off 4 gateways, and that is why it's a little bit confusing. Roaches going down as well as creep tumors in the north side. Fourth base getting separated. Building Hydras right now is a bad idea. Those Hydras do not have groove spines. Shin's in panic mode. He's making Hydras. Hydras are good against Stalkers, but only once they have the upgrades. They don't have the upgrades yet, which means Roaches and Zerglings will be better units, even though Roaches are, of course, not good against top-level Stalker. Micro. A lot of Zerglings get frozen there. Groove spines finally starting. I think he must have thought he'd already started that. 3 gases? 4. So it's 4 gas Stalker Zealot here, which is interesting. Stalkers will take care of the Overseer. And they should kill the Changeling as well, but they end up leaving that there, saying you get to see what's going on my base. No worries. Overlord speed's on the way. Shin's thinking about Roach Hydra drops. A good way to drop the main base on this map. Surprised neither player has opened up the minerals to control that central watchtower. Zerglings get a good angle on these Stalkers. They tried to blink back, but it seems like 2 of them die nonetheless. Roaches and now Hydras in the middle of this map getting caught out. 74 workers for Hero, 65 for Shin. Shin needs to rely on one thing and one thing alone to win this game, and that is Hero's over-aggression. Hero has a very basic army, no tech, nothing that's going to scale that well, which means he has to attack with the Stalker Zealot. He has to keep trading to really just out-economy you, wear you down with numbers. The answer to this for Shin is let him overcommit, take very good defensive engagements, and play carefully. Keep building the Roach Hydra count. Don't rush into doing your drop. And just be ready on the defense. Do not be losing another 4th base. Blink forward comes in. Looks like he got himself an Overlord on the top, but a couple of Stalkers should go down there. And, oh, an Oracle goes down as well. He blinks forward, the mad lad. Groove Spines is ready, but Shin, he gets distracted by the Zealots coming on the south side as well. If Shin has the numbers, he'd be able to crush and punish these sorts of moves, but it doesn't seem like he has the numbers. The Zealots are causing problems. Quite a few Stalkers went down there, but you can see the units lost tab still good for Hero. And Hero, he's taking 2 more gases, going Templar Archives, Robo Bay, and a second Forge. He knows he has got the advantage. He's trading, but he's also transitioning and building a Prism and rebuilding his Oracle for detection in case Lurkers hit the field. It's exactly what you need to do. Shin's making the correct decision. He's not droning. He's not teching to Hive. He's not even upgrading +2. Shin knows he needs to just have enough units, get one good fight, and then counterattack. Same thing that happened on Abyssal Reef, but it's not happening this time because Hero microing his Stalkers very well, trading the Zealots into the natural, which aren't doing as well. But on the north side, the Stalkers have done a really good job. They just need to back away and let their shields regenerate for a second now. It's getting a little mindless in the way he's committing. On the other hand, not great map control for Shin, so this next wave of Zealots will find the natural undefended. Meanwhile, Warp Prism getting ready to go south and hit that main base. The Overlords, yes, Overlord speed is done, but of course Shin has had to give up on any ideas of dropping, as Hero right now clicks with his important thing. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Hero is having fun. Even when he's on match point, a lot of players get stressed in these scenarios. They go, oh man, I can't believe I'm down 0-2, making some dumb mistakes. Hero, you can always tell he's playing with a big fat grin on his face. He's making triple upgrades right now. That's right, the man is making +3 attack, +1 armor, and plasma shields. This is never an efficient investment in this scenario. He's not making Archons. Shields is not that important, and he can always make shields once his +3 attack finishes anyway. But it's funny. It's funny because triple forge, you're not meant to make triple forge, tee-hee-hee. And that's essentially, if I could summarize Hero's entire mentality of playing StarCraft, tee-hee-hee is probably the most cerebral thought process that ever goes on. We've asked him what his goal is in StarCraft games. He's always said, just to annoy my opponent. I like harassing them to annoy them. I don't know. I just like doing things that I think are fun. I like microing Stalkers and attacking and being a bit of a dick. And I'm like, fair enough. Like, that's how you play StarCraft, and it's working here. Shin's Colossus getting jumping on the Colossus, I should say. Gets one of them, doesn't have the numbers to get the other. Shin's just working in a situation where he's outnumbered for too long here. The first attack's getting a bit too much value, and I mean, how much harassment value really went down in this game? How are you getting overwhelmed by 4-gate blink here? One has to wonder that there's got to be some mistakes going on in Shin's build, whether it's supply blocks, too much damage early game. I mean, his third base getting blocked in the start definitely cost him. He'd only lost 3 Zerglings and a drone at this point. He was maintaining a pretty close work account with Hero, but a lot of Lings died there. Yeah, he really didn't get any actual distraction or value. Remember, the 4 Lings barely got blocked by the second Adept at the start of this game. Yeah, never really had himself a worker lead of more than a couple workers. Like, you can see, he gets ahead on workers, but it's at the point when the Stalkers are already coming across the map. So yeah, and then he starts losing Overlords as well. So Shin never really gets out from under Hero's thumb. Just better early game for Hero. And then the reliance on Roach Hydra without having Hydra upgrades yet and just not being willing to build upgraded Zerglings. I think we're seeing a lack of strategic diversity from Shin. Something I've criticized a lot from Shin over the last months is the fact that he plays Roach Hydra every single game. and that Protoss players somehow still aren't ready for it, that's really good for defending Zealot attacks, Glaive Adept attacks. But if your opponent just leans into heavy blink pressure, they're always going to be able to, if they play properly, get a good trade on you, right? Because you don't have enough Zerglings to punish the Stalkers. He gets to pick away at you and then do whatever he wants in the follow-up. And that's the mistake Shin's making here. Unless he's going to overcommit to Ravager Ling and like swarm the army, then start the Hydra production, he just needs to be able to defend this blink pressure. And we have to wonder, in game 5, is he finally going to go +1 melee Zerglings and be ready to shut it down? And is that when Hero's going to go for a Zealot Archon all-in? Or some sort of way to punish the Zergling play? Let's find out in game 5. All right, guys, Hero's woken up. I don't know if he was just on the wrong side of the bed or a little sloppy in those first 2 games. It felt like he was playing a bit too airy-fairy. Now he's just back to basics. Good, solid Stalker Oracle pressure. And I love that he transitioned. I mean, I love the Robos and the Templar Archives. I'm not the biggest fan of the Triple Forge in terms of pure effectiveness. Style points, yes. But not for pure effectiveness. And look, this time, guys, it's 15. He did the Extractor trick, then built the Overlord. And the question is, does he scout for the probe or does he just commit to the 15 hatchery? He doesn't scout for the probe. He's just going to go for the 15 hatchery. Serral will often run to the front. And if he doesn't see a probe, he'll build 1 more drone. Then he'll go 16 hatchery. It's a very slight difference. But essentially, this is the way Serral would like to play. And it's a good opening because it's only a gate scout. So nothing's going to block you. You've just had a nice, efficient opening. You got up to 18 supply, you go 18 gas, 17 pool, which is, of course, completely standard here. You can see rallies those last 2 over. This one takes the gas, and this one is going to take the spawning pool. You can see pro players always planning where those drones go. That drone pops out just before 200 minerals, and that spawning pool goes down. Now, Hero is famous for harassing the worker line from inside the worker line. Most of us harass from behind, so we can't be killed. But Hero likes to try to bait his opponents into trying to attack with their workers, and he's almost always watching, ready to mineral walk away. Remember, if you tell a worker to harvest minerals or gas, it can path through other units. It has no collision size. It cannot be blocked, essentially, except by a full wall off of structures. So you can always just take a few hits, run away, and go, nah, I wasted your mining time. This time, Hero's not being as cavalier with that, but he does still force Shin to react at some point. Wall off here is ugly, but effective, assuming he wants to take this northern third base, and once again, push towards the 4th that Zergs tend to favor. Force Shin to take the other 4th base, and then end up fighting, I guess, over in this area around there. If you guys want to hear about the opening, go check Lambo's YouTube, guys, from about, what, a week or 2, maybe 2 weeks ago. You know, after 15 years, we finally, we were doing it wrong the whole time, something like, I can't remember what the title and thumbnails, but you guys can find it. Lambo doesn't upload videos every day or anything like that, so when he does, usually it's something that's really worth paying attention to and talking about. And he kind of broke down the opening and testing it. And it's funny because I remember he said he'd watched Shin's replays before because Shin had done that opening or something very similar to it. It was like 14 Overlord into hatchery. But he'd looked at it and he benchmarked it, and Shin was always slightly behind him with his like normal 16 hatch opening or whatever. So with the 13 Overlord. So he was like, oh, it's not a good opening. But then he actually realized that Shin was making small mistakes in how he was doubling his workers up and wasn't extractor tricking cleanly and stuff like that. So like the 1 or 2 replays or a couple of replays he'd looked at happened to actually just not be the best example of it, whereas he was doing his 13 Overlord like picture perfect in those replays. So he was like a second ahead on his hatchery timing or on his gas and pool timing. But then he went and made it perfect himself, and then he compared his own timings and he went, oh crap, I am actually a second faster on everything if I do this Shin style extractor trick 15 Overlord after extractor trick, which is really nice. All right, guys, enough talk about those opening details. Void Ray to change it up for Hero after that first Oracle. The Adepts are threatening so nicely. And just when the Zerglings often get to the number where they can surround them, that's when the Oracle arrives. I remember Neeb was the first player in Legacy of the Void to really show how you could just keep your opponent contained with Oracle Adept pressure and join them together so well. I think, was it Neeb was the first guy as well who would shade Adepts in to the mineral line, even though your army was there, kill 2 drones, but his prism would fly in at the same time and he'd pick them up instantly. I feel like Neeb actually is one of those guys we should really talk about more, but I think he just gets a little overshadowed by Serral because, you know, Neeb came in and did historic things, coming from the North American StarCraft scene. I mean, he's the greatest North American StarCraft player of all time, right? I don't think anyone can argue against that. maybe there's some decent counter examples, but he won a tournament in Korea against the best in the world, breaking a 15-year drought since the very early days of StarCraft 1. He dominated the WCS scene, only losing one WCS circuit tournament in the entire foreign scene over a year. He won 3 out of 4. Yeah, he had a prodigious couple of years. He popularized disruptors and showed everyone how to use them, showed everyone how to use adept timings versus Zerg. In the early days of Legacy, obviously Zest reinvented a better version of it many years later. That was like 4 years later, 3 years later. So yeah, I feel like we should really give Neeb a lot more credit. Definitely should talk about him. Yeah. Like chat will say, yeah, Neeb or Scarlet. I think Scarlet will be the first to say that she's got nothing on Neeb's record as great a player as she's been, and she's a fan favorite. She's a firebrand. She's got great strategies and style. But in terms of raw effectiveness and the heights of results, Neeb far outshone Scarlet. And that's no shade on Scarlet. It's just a testament to how high his results are. Great containing of the creep right now. Blinken +1's coming in. We've got a second gateway and a third gateway just now coming up, but with a quick robo this time. So it's going to be Blink, Immortal, Colossus. Robo Bay already. Okay. And it is +1 melee, by the way, guys. Look at this. So Hero, he hasn't even seen the Evo Chamber, but I think he might be guessing because there's no Roach Warren in the wall early on, and there's more Zerglings on the map. He's done a lot of Blink pressure. He knows you're going to play more Zergling heavy, potentially into Ling Hydra. And he's going, let's go fast Colossus, because Colossus counters Zerglings. So I'm still going to go Blink. I'm still going to make you want to commit to mass Zergling, but I'm not going to lean into the pressure nearly as hard. He might still move out soon with like the Oracles and like 6 or 7 Stalkers, but I don't think he'll commit very hard to it. And then he's going to go for a big Colossus timing, potentially off 3 base. And going Hydra's not going to be great against that. Now, to be fair, Roach Hydra should be fine, especially if you can get to Vipers or Corruptors, but the Zerglings aren't going to be useful in the frontal fights. And my question is, where's the Infestation Pit? And you might be wondering, guys, why isn't he going Infestation for Hive? What you need to do is you need to look at these 4 letters down here. They say S-H-I-N. That spells Shin, which is his name, Shin He-Bon, formerly known as Ragnarok. And what that means is, what did I say earlier? And what did I say every series for the last 2 months? He's going to Roach Hydra all in because he does it every single time. He's too predictable. Even though he opened melee this time to get to a better start and defend potential Stalkers, it's inevitable. At some point, he's going to Roach Hydra all in and follow it up with like a very aggressive Lurker attack without a lot of follow through behind it. He's not a great late game player. And honestly, I think that's just him playing smart ZVP. I don't think late game's good for Zerg against Protoss. It hasn't necessarily been for a while, but especially with how confident Protoss players are now on the modern map pool, with units like the Mothership being buffed and energy recharge on High Templar for Storms, they're more confident than ever. Now, Hero's going to take the worst base on this map, guys. It has only a single gas that's blocked here and 6 mineral patches, but it is compact, I guess, close to your base. I still think this 4th base is just better because you can push forward from there to the Zerg's 4th, and you actually get proper gas mining, which is what Protoss wants in late game. Then again, if you're just doing a 3-base Colossus gateway timing, you might not care. It looks to me like he's going to go Colossus Stalker Zealot and just commit really hard. That 4th base, there's no probe production for it. It's a fake. Yes, he can transfer to it, he can use it, but it's not a big commitment. And right now, the Roach Hydra attack is coming. Infestation Pit's on the way behind it. A few drones coming in as well. Lings on the left, Roach Hydra on the right. They've got Groove Spines, they've got Roach Speed. They don't have augments just yet, so the Hydra move speed is not done. I think you should actually go south with this Roach Hydra army. Lings flood in! Lings flood in. Big mistake there, letting them in for Hero. You could argue, is he prepared for it, though? A few Zealots warping in, not going to be enough. 4th base does go down. Colossus takes a bit of damage here. Void Ray does fall as well. Oracles are going to be important here to try and defend. Good probe pull. Colossus goes into the main. The Zealots get shredded. And at the front, he does defend as well. Remember, Shin's only on 71 workers, so even though he's got the 2 gases and now the Hive and Lurker Den starting, it's okay for Shin, but I wouldn't say he's ahead. He's still got to deal with a Protoss player that didn't really have their economy touched. They just have to rebuild a 4th base, and they're going to be hitting you with Colossus. You have a long wait until you have Vipers and Lurkers out, and that's scary, because Shin is going to need to defend. He needs to stop droning and make nothing but army, but he's got no scouting right now. We're on Shin's camera. Shin has no idea this army's coming. He needs to build nothing but roaches. Honestly, Ravagers would really help against this army as well, because Biles could be nice, but there's an Immortal, there's 2 Archons, there's a Sentry. The Oracles don't have a lot of energy. They can throw a few Stasis Traps down, of course, and the Lings are ready for the counterattack as well. Archon Immortal Zealot Sentry coming forward. Guardian Shield is nice. Lovely timing attack here for Hero. Lings do run in the base at the same time. The Zealot warping the cannon will be able to deal with that. The Colossus shredding the Hydras. Those Hydras way too exposed. He needs more Roaches. He's building Lings right now. What's he building Lings for? He needs Roaches. He needs nothing but Roaches against this army. Roaches are the counter to this army. But the supply, I think, is just a bit too close because Shin, he committed a lot to his attack. And he did kill a fourth, but he didn't kill any army, and it's the Protoss army that's the problem. Those Colossus started stepping back so nicely. Queen's adding a little bit of damage, but not quite able to kill. A high-energy Queen goes down off the edge of creep there. The Queen's falling. There's so few Hydras left. There's just no units. Shin's down in supply right now, and Hero just with good starter step here, +2 Colossus Stalker Immortal having some fun making Archons. Extra Immortals rallying forward, and Immortals and Archons are going to deal with Roaches. The 3 Colossus already the anchoring force that he needs. Shin getting to Hive way too late in this game, and that is what he needed against the Colossus. He needed a Viper or two to abduct those Colossus. That could have changed everything, but he didn't get to it. Roach Hydra Queen's coming forward right now. The Zealot's coming forward as well. Here we go. Zerglings going for the counterattack right now. Roach Hydra trying to pull to that right side. He's going to try and pull back, but Shin needs more than a perfect fight. He needs something that his numbers cannot deliver. He needs something like a disruptor shot in the middle of this Protoss army. And as much as Zerg are a race that's into, mass population, mass growth, expanding across the map, they do not actually have balls. And Shin's going to have to tap out. Hero with the reversal. Some, at this point, have to be wondering, does Hero throw games just to make it more exciting before actually playing proper StarCraft? He looked kind of lost in the first 2 games with what to do with good positions. And then game 3, game 4, game 5, he's like, today I choose to win. And yeah, I mean, really good defense on his 4th. The 4th was a bait, and it worked. It kind of baited Shin into attacking, thinking this is a valuable target when it wasn't. And a lot of units went down here. Down 700 resources when this starts, but look, Shin's only at 68 workers. You really want to be on 80 workers and already have a Hive going at this point. And check it out. That Colossus starter says, what's he lose? A Nexus dies, he doesn't cancel it, and he loses a Void Ray. Loses a Pylon. Don't think he really loses any other units. So the units lost tab there. At the end of all that, it goes 100 or 200 in Hero's favor. You might think, well, it's not that positive. Yeah, but he didn't lose anything important like Colossus. He's still building towards his attack. His 3rd Colossus is coming out, so it hasn't delayed his own attack timing he was pretty much already planning on doing. But Zerg's traded out a bunch of units and, most importantly, delayed this Hive. If that Hive's a minute earlier, it's a very different game. If there's a few Lurkers out to help defend, it's a very different game. But neither of those, and that's going to be GG, well played. Hero fights back and wins the OlimoLeague 235 weekly finals. GG, well played.